All right, guys. So where do we left off? So now that we have that, oh yes. So now what do we do? Well, we got into the you guys got into the fun part of cutting all of these pieces, right? You guys had a number of them, and again, that's what's really easy to do right here within the software. Um, right. So so you can type copy, right, and I'm gonna bring this one's right here, right, and I'm going to select this one's right here, and I'm going to move them over here, right, and I can just type copy, right, and I can make, right, I'm gonna hold down shift, right, and I can make, remember how many of this do we have? 6, right, and we have those right there. Now I can do that, or I can use, anyone else what other command I can use to make a bunch of copies of this real quick? My graphics people, or anyone? All right, good job, Natalia. Right, so you're trying to look back in array. Right, so array enter. So let's see how the array works, because that's a really fun command. So we select the object to array. Now, number that is going to ask us, note that is going to ask us for a series of numbers, right? In this case, numbers on the x direction. So let's put right now for right now 6, right? Number in the y1 and number on the z1, right? It's asking us for an x spacing. So I click on this point right here. Notice how I create those copies right there, right? Notice that as I move my cursor, I can make copies. So I need to click. It's white. That's because it's a preview. I need to hit enter in order to accept. Now, for us to really understand how array works, let me maybe just have that right here, right? Because what were all those other numbers that it was showing us, Munoz? Well, if we type array one more time, we select the shape, right? Number in the x direction, let's keep 6 maybe. Now on the y, let's put, I don't know, 8. And then on the z, let's put maybe 3, right? We'll see now if, again, we place that right there. I can make those copies right there. Whoa. Hey, let's do it one more time. Array, right? So 6, 8, 3, right? I can click there. It is now that I can array objects in this different, right? So this will be the x and the y, right? So you see that's the 6 by 8, and then now I'm doing the 3 objects right there on the z-axis, right? So I right click and I have all of those copies right there. Cool, huh? And that's your project, guys. Right? No, there more than that. Right? Right. So I'll do that. Okay. So whether you use array or copy, that's up to you. I mean, some of these, well, let's keep doing array just for practice, right? So we'll do this right there. How many of these were? 4, right? So now in the y, I just want 1, and the z, I just want 1, right? And I start doing my spacing right there. Right click, and this one's how many? 2, right? And for +2, it's the same if I just type copy, right? So, and we'll have that right there. Okay, to that. 4, 1, 1. Right, start doing kind of that right there, somewhere there. Right click, and just make sure that you move this. They're not overlapping. Again, by the way, I'm using what's called the gumball, right? It's this object right here that has these arrows, and you turn it on right here, right, which is gumball. Gumball, really helpful tool. And this one is just 2, so I'll do just 2 copies. And I do that right there. All right. So we have that, and then now we can start putting our modules together. Right? So we can copy these, right? We can bring them over here, and I can start typing move, right? Remember that we used our bigger piece of the square right as the origin or the beginning. For this, it's helpful if we start doing it from perspective, because let's say from there, right? I want to move, right? Let's say you know, some of these bigger pieces right here, right? So I bring so, and this is where also OSNAP is really important, really helpful, right? Because I can start layering them like that, right? I can start doing kind of this right here, kind of like bringing it over there. Now they're overlapping, so I don't want that. So I want to move it. This, you know, I want to move it right on this direction by how much? 1/16, right? So what happened? Right, so it goes to the back. So I actually want to move it how much? How about, well, if I do 2/16, if I do 2/16, right, I mean, it still goes to the back, right? Correct, right? So we can try negative 1/16, right? And actually moves it to the opposite direction, right? And we start creating kind of like those patterns right there, right? So now I can keep typing move, right? I can borrow from here, right? And I don't know, you guys had way better stuff, right, than what I'm probably gonna get here, right? Let's work on maybe more difficult alignments, right? Because these are all easy, right? Because they're aligning. But let's say that I bring this. Okay, so I have one. Okay, let me bring another one. Let me bring this one, right, from here to here. But let's say now that I actually want, right, this edge to align with this edge right here, right? So the way that we do that is with the rotate command, right? And this has to be done from the front view, right? So I select it, right? Select objects to rotate, enter, right? Center of the rotation, right, would be that, right? Angle or first reference point, we're gonna pick our first reference point, which is this, and notice that I can rotate it now. And second reference point, I can snap to that end right there and then rotate it like that. Yeah? Should we try another one? Yes. All right. So I'm going to copy this one right here. Actually, I'm going to move. All right. So maybe I bring it over here. And then let's say now that I want to rotate, right? So I rotate, right, this one so that it rotates from there to there to there, right? And then from there, I can select this one's over here and maybe send them onto a different layer, right? So minus 1/16, it's already there. And I start doing kind of that right there. Does that start looking more like your guys' project? Well, of course, yours guys was way better than this one, much more creative. Okay, so let's say fine, right? We have this was the module that you then took to the copy center, right? You scanned it or you make copies of them, and then you created your what? Tessellation, right? So let's do that. Now I can do that. I can copy this right here, and I copy it, and I bring it over here. Now remember that once you created the copy, it was a copy, so it was one single object. Here, they're still all different components, right? So it's very easy for us to, let's say, make a copy of this right here, right, and leave stuff behind, right? So let's say that, you know, I make a copy of this over here, right? And maybe somewhere over here, right? But then in order for us, let's say that you want to rotate this piece, right? And for you to select everything again, it's kind of a pain in the butt. I mean, I got it right there easily, but there's an easier way, right, that we could actually fix this if we do what to our modules, group them, right? So turn them into one single object, right? So if I undo, before I start copying that guy right there, I select it, and then I type group, right? GROUP, group. Now I only click on it once, and I don't need to select the entire thing, right? I mean, I just can click anywhere, and I make those, and then I can make the copies. All right, so let's say I come back to the front view right here and make a bunch of copies, right? Maybe there, right? And then from there I can select them. I can use the gumball, right, to rotate them. So maybe I rotate this one 90 degrees. I can rotate this one 180, right? And maybe I can rotate this one, again, minus 90, right? And from there, I can start moving, right? I go back to the perspective, right? So I can start lining this one up with this one, right? This one with this one. Let's say this one, grab it from, and I'm making this look very, very easy, right? But honestly, the hardest part is to learn to kind of like understand Rhino, how it selects things, because it can be very picky when you're selecting things, right? So it's not looking bad. I like that it's not symmetrical, right? So question, Valerie? No, good. And then from there, right, the sky's the limit, guys. You know what I mean? The idea is to replicate that right there, and I can bring this one over here, right, and start kind of creating that right there, bringing that right there. I can move it from there to there. Start creating again, the pattern. Right? Start copying this one right from there to. So just be careful, right? Because that, for example, is not right. Right? That's not on the same plane. Right? But I can come back here and I can move it and move it right there. So they're all on the same plane. All right, we're copying this right here. All right, let's see. Let's bring back our sheet. Let's go to our front. Let me unlock it. Right, let me copy, right, one of these sheets right here, bring it all the way over here. Right, I'm gonna copy, right, this guy right here. Maybe try to center it, right, there. I'm going to move this out here, and let me try to complete the pattern right now. Just simply, right, maybe copy these two, copy them, right, from there to there, right? And so I can show you how to trim the X's, right? Copy, right? This one, and probably from the back would be easier. I can snap to them easier, right? Start doing that. I'm just gonna do it random. That, bring this one over here. How about these two? I can copy them from there to there. And then we need two more, right? From there to there. And that one from there, and maybe there. And I guess ridiculously small pieces, but what the heck? They're free, they're digital. I don't have to cut anything, right? Well, not yet. Right? I can just bring them there. All right. So if I come back right here to the front, right, I get a whoa. Right, Christopher, right? Seriously, guys, come on. Like all the time, all the effort that you guys were doing by hand, right, to just do it like this, should be like, hombre, ese Munoz. Alright. Alright, guys. So let's now talk about how to trim this thing right here. So I'm going to copy this right here, this pattern. All right. I don't know. Let's see. This can work many ways. Let's try something right here. So we have the cutting object right there. Let's see. I'm just curious if this is gonna work. All right. So bear with me. Let's see. Let's say if I type trim. Let's say that this is my cutting object. Whoops. Trim, and then let's say that this is my cutting object. Will it work if I do this? Yeah, it does. All right. Nice. All right. So start trimming this right here. It's computing. Thinking. Stinking. And why did it not cut this ones out? They're not touching the frame right there, right? Oh, but they're grouped. Dang it. All right, so we need to select them, select them, select them. I'm holding shift, right? I'm gonna type ungroup, degroup them, and then now we can get rid of them right here. And like for example, this one that it didn't kind of do it, I can type trim again, select the curve right there again, and then get rid of that guy right there. Actually, this one right here as well. This one right here as well. And this one right here. Right, enter, and select all of this one. Leave this out, leave this out. Now, what's really interesting about this is that the sheet itself, right? I mean, it wasn't touching all of them, right? But it just worked. Right. No, only those pieces that were on the edge, rather. So these are grouped. These are grouped. It's not ideal, right? I mean, now they're ungrouped, like all of these pieces right there. But what I can do, I guess I can try to do this, right? I mean, with the selection, but no, it's kind of sketchy because I'm selecting stuff that should not be part of that group. Like this, for example, should be part of that group. I guess I can type group again, you know, I do that right there. So you start getting this right here, right? And then from there, because you can picture what what we'll be doing. I mean, in terms of the your system, right? I mean, your patterns right there, right? Because I can start copying this. Let's do this right here, right? So that was your tessellation right there. That it's right there on the wall, and then from there, what it would do. You selected a 4x4, right? So I can draw a rectangle, right, at 4 inches by 4 inches. I select that right there. I'm going to send this to maybe guidelines. Then I'm going to maybe place it as you guys did, right? I mean, something that you guys like, right? I mean, I don't know, let's say that or, yeah, they used to call me Little Picasso. Nah, right? Like, Picasito. Picasito. I like that. Not picosito, just picasito. Yes. I guess it's fun to laugh, right? Right. So I'm gonna copy this right here and check this out, guys. This is gonna blow your mind. So we learned already. Let's ungroup everything, right? So ungroup everything, and then we type trim, right? Select the cutting object, which is the rectangle, right? Enter, and we do this right here. do that. Just thinking as fast as you guys think, right? Right. Boom. Slower. Depends. If it's the morning, maybe a little bit slower. And I think that's it, guys, because that's not touching. I can right click, right? Delete this, delete this, delete this, and then I'm gonna zoom select it right here, right? And there we have that right there. We can delete the curve. This is not ideal, right? That they're open like this. It's a fix, right? We can select it and we type what? Well, our should work. Oh no, it doesn't. That's the only thing that I don't like. I need to find out how to fix this. That's not good. But it's okay for right now. All right, guys. So we have done just that. So okay. So what was next? Break them into layers, right? Correct. And that's it's an easy way. There's an easy way to do it, right? I mean, if you actually use your layers right there. There's a selection tool. I need to get better at my selection, right? Go select selection filter. No, it's not that. Well, anyway, if you lock all of your layers, right, except for the one that you want to move, right. So, for example, I can do that. Whoa, what's going on? Lock them, right? Lock all of that, and then I should just be able to select the red ones, so I can start moving them, right? So let's say that I do 5/8, 5/8, 5/8. I have moved them right there. So I'm gonna lock that one, and then maybe unlock this one. So then I have these ones right there. Why don't I do this? I'm gonna unlock that one and that one, so I move them both, right? So so I move all of this right there again by 5/8, right? And then I do it just like that, and then I can do this blue, whatever that blue is. Yeah, there you go. And then I move all of this right here. 5/8. Right, I have that. And you know, let's say that I unlock this one right here, which are all of these ones right here. And then I move this one, right? 5/8 on the positive side, that way right there, right? And of course, I'm ending up with much layers that I guess we have 4 layers. So I guess I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But again, that's not a big deal, right? I can, for example, select this ones right here, right? And maybe send them, let's say, minus 5/8, and let's do maybe they're not overlapping there, so that layer could work. And even better, I could move it, right? I mean, rather than being there, I can move them to be kind of like right there. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. We still have 5 layers. And then maybe, or I can combine this one. I move it back to where it was, and then move it again 5/8 so that it's within this same layer, and combine. What do I combine? Maybe this layer, which is locked. This one right here. This one right here. Combine it with. Which one? This one? This one right here. Exhaustion. 5/8. Are they overlapping? Well, I can leave them like that, right? Actually, that looks kind of interesting. So that could be my 1, 2, 3, and then this one is way too back. Oops. Ah, 5/8, right? So we have our 5/8 right there. Okay. So we start getting again that effect that again. Well, if we look at it from the front, again the pattern is there, but again we start seeing that it actually has some sort of a depth. Okay, we start kind of like exploiting the layers. There's a key step that we have actually missed, right? We're not doing a good job of that, which was to do a what? Save, right? File, save. Again, get to the habit of naming your files, you know, something, right? I mean, you're welcome to borrow mine, right? I mean, I always do the semester, right? So I do SP for spring, right? 20, and then the class. So this would be Studio 2. And then, you know, this was Rhino Intro, right? For me, right? This is class, but for you could be midterm project or midterm intro or, uh, you know, again, later, this is this is only your second semester, right? But by the fourth semester, you know, even later on, you're gonna have so many files, right? That final project. Okay, great. What class? What semester? What project? The final or the final one project, or project one final. So it's always a good habit to start naming that right there. Well, we're a little bit more ahead than the morning class, right? Let's just keep going. Yeah, can we? Yeah. All right, guys. Because there's one last part that we're missing, which is what? The sticks, which would what? Correct. The sticks, which were acting as our structure, right? So we need to create a new layer, right? Let's call this structure, right? Structure, and just because we're so you know, efficient, I'm just gonna abbreviate that structure. Bit of color, you know, some Bazwoozy color, some sort of an orange. We can change it later on. And so here's the deal, guys. So in order to draw this basswood, the way that I would recommend to do it would be from, well, actually we do it from the front, right? So here it is, right? So what would you do? How would you draw this basswood? What would you draw first? Draw a stick. Is there a stick command? And then you put it. No, guys, that's the thing. The software doesn't understand that. But if I was the case, like, hey, Rhino, give me my project, pues no, right? But give it to me in Rhino terms. Like, how would you start drawing this? Christopher, you can help. Oh yeah, actually, yeah, yeah. Circle. Rectangle. Okay, yeah, guys. So again, the idea behind this is that we gotta train ourselves. Again, there's like a million ways of doing this same thing right here. As a matter of fact, you guys are going to hopefully move on and look back to this project. And the way that I'm teaching you this right now is not the fastest one. There's much faster ways of doing this. You're gonna be like, man, ese Munoz, like he ain't gonna do all this work, right? But the fact is that we're also learning about the software and we're learning certain key commands that I'm showing you guys kind of like the long way of doing this. So you guys can master the project, that software, right? But also we need to use our mind, right? Like, okay, so I need to draw a basswood stick, right? How would you start? How would you start, Narda? What would you draw? Same way that we did the polygons, which was how? All right. All right. Yeah. And how big would this rectangle be? The thickness of the basswood. That is very right. Okay. So I'm gonna activate the structure layer. Right. So I do a rectangle. Right. And let's say, give me what was one of the thicknesses of your basswood sticks? 1/8. Perfect. Right. So I do a at. Let's see if this works. Actually, I'm not sure if this will work with fractions. Right. 1/8, comma 1/8. Oh man, this works. It's amazing, right? So distance, double check that, double check that. Good. All right, so that's your 1/8. Now, right, we need to do what to it, Narda? Extrude, yes, ma'am, right? So I type extrude. Now, here, notice that we're doing another kind of extrusion, right? First, we were doing extrude surface. Now, what kind of extrusion do we want to do? Curve, right? Because we're extruding curve, right? So extrude curve, right? Select this piece right here, enter. Now, again, make sure that solid is set to what? Yes, and delete input. In this case, we also want a yes, because we don't need that little square anymore, right? So delete input, yes. How big? Well, I don't know. You know, pretty long. You know, we can do something like that, right? Do something like that. And then from there, ladies and gentlemen, it's just a matter of you know, copying this. Even better, why don't we rotate it first, right, before we actually even, right, so that you guys can maybe start seeing it, right? So I can rotate it on this axis, right? Let's say I rotated, yeah, I guess 90 degrees. Start doing that, and I can start moving it, right, from there, right? Let's say to there. I can rotate, right, on my front view, right, from there to there to there. Right? What's up, Chris? No? Good. And I start making that, although I see that there's something kind of off right here, right? But that's okay because we can start using our command, right, that we just talked about earlier today, right? Scale 1D. Let's say that you want to make some of these pieces shorter or longer, right? Let me copy a few of them right here. So I copy this one over here. Maybe copy this one over here, right? And start doing kind of that right there, right? So those are fine. Let's say now that I want to make this one shorter, right? So I can type scale one direction, right? So select that object right there, and I want to make it so that from there to there, it actually, you know, let's say this big right there. And then for 50 points on the next quiz, oh no, I don't know if that's gonna work. Right. Well, we gotta get rid of this little piece right here, right? There's a very elegant way of doing it in Rhino, which is the what? The Boolean difference, right? Boolean difference. What's up, right? So Boolean difference, select surfaces to subtract from, right? We want to subtract from the basswood stick, enter. This piece, enter. Whoops. Except that I got rid of the original. One more time, guys. Boolean difference, enter. Subtract from this form, except that right here, right there it says delete input. Okay, no, right? With that one, right? And we have this super clean, nice, awesome looking detail. That actually looks pretty cool, right? Start doing that right there, guys. All right? And let's say that, you know, once you have one of these basswood sticks right there. So let's say that you had 1/8 inch sticks because that's what you found. Right? But let's say now you're planning and you're doing this project again. It's like, man, I really like, you know, how Javier had this basswood stick that was 1/16, right? Much cleaner, right? So I can do a scale now of 2 directions, right? Select the basswood stick right there, right? So from there to there and to there. Hey, what happened? Well, let's just scale it all together, right? So type scale, right? So that from that right there, so that from there to there is equal to 1/16, right? And then we can just relocate it, right? From there to there. I don't know if that's looking right actually. There we go. And we start doing our structure, which again you can see like, yeah, I like that more, right? I mean, it's a little bit more or less prominent, right, or more delicate. Because now, again, the forms and shapes and objects in Rhino are free. Right? I mean, you can make as many copies as you want, cut them however you want, right? I mean, you're not constrained, and that's the power of the digital model, right? I mean, you can prototype things, you can test them, right? And you're not wasting material, you're not wasting some of your time as well, right? So again, let me just go through this real quick, right? I mean, now I can select this one right here, maybe copy it. Notice that I'm just gonna copy it. There's a, oops, I can just copy it. And how are we doing this? And hold on a second. Why am I not trying to make a copy? I forgot the command. I don't know if any of you guys remember how to make a copy with the gumball or not. No. Shit. Yeah, it was something like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I got it. So it was Alt Shift drag. Wait, so you click first, you Alt Shift. Wait, I just got it. Okay, so I'm doing it right there. Now I just need to explain how to do it. Isn't it entertaining to see Munoz suffer? Oh man, I just lost it. All right, guys, homework. Find out how to copy. Oh, there it is. Okay, so let's try this one more time. So, yes, I think it's more like click, Alt, Shift, drag. Dang it. Alt, Shift. No. Click, Alt, Shift. That's what it should. I know everything. All of this. This is recorded forever. Right? It's like, how many students does it take? I know you're the teacher. Ahí está. I don't know. I don't know. We'll figure it out. You know what? You can see it on the recording because the recording has the keys that I press. So anyway, well, that's sad that I don't remember. But so I'm gonna rotate this 90 degrees. That's all I wanted to do, guys. I wanted to rotate this, show you guys that you can have your other structure right here. Let's say maybe over here. I'm gonna move it from there to there. Right, you can start having your lattice. It's a pretty basswood color. Let's see if we can change that. Maybe let's make it a bit more like that. Right, okay, a little bit nicer. All right, and there it is, guys. I mean, well, lastly, actually, let me copy some more. Let me show you what's next. Right. So read that right there. Maybe we bring this one over here. And start doing that right there. Remember, if you want to enlarge this, right, you can do it scale, one direction, right, select it. And again, this matters, okay? You need to pick that edge and it needs to line up with this edge, right? And then you extrude it, right? And then you extrude it past, right? Because if you, for example, do scale one direction from that corner and then you pick this other one on the back, see what's gonna, I don't know if it's noticeable, but it deforms it, right? I don't know, it's noticeable right here, but don't do it. Long story short, don't do it. So scale, oops, no, not help. Scale 1D, right? So again, I want to scale this guy from there to there, and you just kind of like make it pass like that. Okay, okay, good. Now we just need to trim those x's, right? That axis of the structure. Anyone remembers how to do that? Right. Well, we can. Huh? Well, we need a triangle, right? That actually define those edges. So I'm going to copy the original 4x4. I am going to send it right here to the back as a reference. I'm going to type trim, right? The cutting object is that guy right there. And I'm going to go to the front view and see if hopefully this works. And then trim that out. And then trim that out. And then you start getting that. And of course, we're missing our back pieces right here. That's as simple as copying one of these ones right here. Right? And then rotating it. Right? Say maybe 90 degrees right there. And then rotating this 90 degrees. That was too much. Minus 45. Oops. The other direction. 45. Right? All good? No. Oh. Alright, yeah. So then there's that right there. Okay, so again, going a little bit fast. I know the idea is that you kind of sit down and you're able to kind of follow along. Right? Questions right now for something maybe in particular that, just for the record? No? Nada? Yes. So I select that right there, zoom selected. I'd say let's start trimming them, right? Like for example, this one right here, because it's gonna start telling you, and we can do that very easily, again, with what command? Boolean difference, right? Boolean difference, right? Right, so I subtract from that form, right? Did input no, this form, right? And that starts creating this kind of clean cut. I think I did that. No, did I do that correctly? Let's see. Yes, right? You start getting like those notches right there, like that. Yeah, Boolean difference it, and you'll have the subtraction. What else, Nora? Good. All right. Question, Valeria? Correct. Right. So it's very much this model applied to this area right here. Not the answer that you were expecting. Yes. Now, all right, guys. Questions? Another questions? No. No. All right. So I'm gonna pause the record. So the question is, how can I make an opening on some of these pieces? Let me go back to the front piece right here. You're working with the hexagon, but that's fine. That should be somewhere over here when we have the curves, right? So we have the curves, right? And we have the surface. I'm gonna copy this guy right here, all right? So I'm gonna bring it down over here, and just a few steps. We do the offset, right? We do an offset of the curve, right? The distance, right? The distance is well, how much you want to offset it. I don't know, how much did you offset it, like, you know. Well, let's do 1/4 of an inch, 25, right? Right, and it's giving me a preview right there. You see it, right? Which looks pretty accurate, like yours, right? And then from there, I can do what? Trim it, right? I use this as the trim object, right? And I then can, right, extrude this surface, right, on the right layer, right? I think we're doing 1/16, or we're doing, so we'll get that. You can also do it from the from the solid right here, but you would just need to so you would need to do a polyline and then trace the outline of this, right? So basically you need that curve, and then you do offset again, right? Offset the curve that much, and then you can trim, right? Oops, I guess in theory it should work. And see, why is it not working? What does offset do? It's a good question. Maybe go back right here. Why are you? All right. What does offset do? Creates a line or a curve at an x distance from the origin, right? If I type offset right here, and I select that right there, that curve. Do you see the preview? Maybe you see it better if I move the cursor to the outside. So I can offset the line inwards, or I can offset it outwards, right? So offset just creates a smaller shape, right, of that outline, right? Because maybe it's easier to see if I hide this, right? And then I type offset, right? That'll give me that line right there. And if I repeat that, I can keep doing it, right? So all of these are offsets of each other, right? So these are all offsets. Does that help? You know? So that's why I asked Narda, right? It's like, hey Narda, like how much did you offset your form, right? Because I can select this curve right there, uh, distance of 0.25, right? Offset it inwards and use that to trim this area right there. Yeah, that's what I would go about it. I'm sure there's other ways, but that should work. All right, so I'll add that to the recording. Any other questions?